morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome back to the Foundation Course 1, the 3 Principal Paths. And thank you for coming back, those of you who've come multiple times. I hope that your meditations are going well and the homework and quizzes are going well. So let's take a moment and get in touch with our motivation for taking this course. Why are you here today? Including you, little one. Try to make it as big, as grand, as high as you can. And the strength of your motivation will lead you and stay with you through this class. May it bring you, your being here, may it bring you all your heart's desire, including your motivation that you just made. So does anyone have any questions from last time or any of our classes? No questions. What was the benefit of bodhicitta that struck your heart? Did they all each have equal effect for you? Or was there one or another that made you go, oh? Did any of them make you go, oh? Because if any of them did, today we're going to start talking about how to generate bodhicitta. But if none of the benefits look interesting to you, then maybe we could just, I don't know, we could play computer games for the next hour. Okay, you're a quiet bunch today. Okay, I got it. Okay, so today we are going to talk about how to generate bodhicitta in our hearts and in our minds. Um, I mean, to think about the benefits is maybe like a really good daily practice, thinking about the benefits of bodhicitta. You know, without bodhicitta, uh, it won't be possible to help other living beings. Without bodhicitta, it won't be possible to become fully awakened in this life. It's through the power of wanting to benefit countless numbers of living beings, to lead them, guide them, be able to truly help them to get out of the condition of being forced to take on over and over impure body and mind. So there are two in the Lam teachings, and also in the oh, there's a question. If I have bodhicitta, I can become a full. Yes. If you have bodhicitta, you can become fully enlightened, and you can help every living being the best. You could even say that, I mean, the only way we could truly help somebody else is if we could understand what their experience is in the moment that someone comes to us for help. Buddhas can, because they have omniscience, because they can see all things, they can see the experience that another person is having. They see that. They see their thoughts, their worries, their misunderstandings. So only someone who could do that could help them best, you know. What is the thing that I could say or do that would help this person the most in this moment right now? Otherwise, we help someone and it just, for me, someone who's not a Buddha, when I help someone, it's a positive karma. I try and have the highest motivation I can. But I'm stuck in having to take on impure heaps over and over. And so I'm just creating, a future positive experience in the suffering world with bodhicitta, true heartfelt bodhicitta. Any positive action would be creating my future enlightenment. Not just a nice experience here in a suffering world. So the Lamrim teachings and the Lojong, which means a lot of people translate it as mind training. Geshe Michael translates it as developing the good heart. Those series of teachings talk about how to generate bodhicitta. The first is Dakshin Namje. Say Dakshin. Oh, I should do that the other way. It's a low tone S. Dakshin. Dakshin. Nyamje. Nyamje. Dakshin Nyamje. So dog means me or I, and Shen means other. Uh, Other, usually it's about other people, someone other than me. Nyam means equal, and J, with this spelling, means exchange. So this is a meditation called exchanging self with others. And Master Shantideva talks about this meditation in his book, A Guide to a Bodhisattva's Way of Life, the Bodhisattva Charyavatara. Master Shantideva is such a good writer, and that book is so incredible. He talks about how our idea of me, right now we have it in like as residing in this particular bag of bones and skin and flesh, but that's just a habit. We could expand the boundaries of me to include other things. And before you think that that's too crazy, we do it all the time, actually. Mothers do it with their children. That's my child. So no matter where their child is, the boundaries of them reach out and include them. We do it with things. That's my car. Don't hit my car. That's my house. You can't come in my house unless I let you. So we do expand the boundaries of this me. And he talks about how we can expand it to include the people we now call other. We can expand me such that there is no more other. So this meditation of exchanging self and others is like a way to start thinking about that. Before we can read another's minds or thoughts, before we can really know what someone else is experiencing, how it is someone is experiencing something, we can imagine what it would be like. And parents do this with their children. Even people who have pets, they do it with their pets. Like I'm cat sitting for Rebecca's cat. And yesterday she was crying. And so I am like, okay, I can't read her mind. Is she hungry? Is she thirsty? Maybe she's bored and she wants some pets, or she wants to play. I never did figure it out. I had done everything I thought I could do for her, and she was still crying. But that's what, that's what parents and pet owners and try to do, is figure out what can I do, or what is this person experiencing? What is this other being experiencing, and how can I serve them? So in meditation, you imagine someone else, and uh, you put yourself in their bag of bones, and they are in your bag of bones, and you just imagine what are they thinking, how are they even sitting, you know how do they occupy that bag of bones? um, and even by just imagining that, uh, like if you have a friend who is sick, then you can imagine what it feels like. Uh, and then everything that you do, uh, of course, you're not in the other person's bag of bones. You're in your bag of bones. But so then everything you do is what they would want to have happen right then. Everything you say is for them, rather than the way we normally walk around the world, where we are the most important living being of any time on any planet. We are number one. Uh, we put ourselves in one other person's body and mind, and do things to benefit them. You do, like, naturally what would benefit them. Like, we naturally, if we're thirsty, we just pick up a glass and take a drink. We don't make a big deal of it. We just pick up and drink. So if we're in the mode of thinking about what someone else is experiencing, you just offer a glass of water without, you just place it there on the table next to the person. If you've ever been around someone who does that, it's like quite an extraordinary thing. Just when you're thirsty, then boom, there's a glass of water sitting right next to you. Venerable Jigme is very good at this particular skill. She's very suspicious. So that is that meditation. And I just wanted to introduce it to you. We're going to spend most of the class on the other of the two ways of generating bodhicitta. Pabonka Rinpoche says that he says Ngeparke, and Ngeparke Ngepar, it's like certainty, certainly. and Kye will come, will arise. And he says, Nye par Kye, about these two ways of generating bodhicitta, that no matter which one you do, if you only want to do one, bodhicitta will arise. It will happen. You will definitely get bodhicitta. In another of the foundation courses, we spend more time on Dakshin Nyamje, on exchanging self and others. So the one we're going to talk about today is Gyundre Mengmak Dun. Say Gyundre, Gyundre Mengak. It's a little tongue twister. Mengak Dun. Dun. Gyundre Mengak Dun. So Gyu, does anyone know? Gyu means cause. And Dre means effect. And then when you say them together, instead of Gyu Dre, this Dre has a heavy prenasal. So it's Gyundre, Gyundre. Mengak means advice, personal advice. And Dun means 7. So this is the 7-step cause and effect method. Or advices. They're personal advices. So in Parquet, it is definitely, bodhicitta definitely will come. But remember, we talked about 4 laws of karma, right? And in order to experience the result, we have to create the cause. We can't just wish for this to happen. So these methods are methods that we can practice, and if we practice with our whole heart, if we put our hearts into these practices, the results will come. So the first thing about the 7-step cause and effect advices is that there's really 8 steps. But the first step they call step 0. So what this, you could call it a preliminary step. Before you start going through the 7 steps, and they are cause and effect. You do one, and that brings along the ability to do the next one. And you do that one, and that brings about the ability to do the next step. And each step is bringing you closer and closer to having the experience of bodhicitta in your heart. And remember that bodhicitta is the wish to attain total, complete enlightenment in order to benefit all other living beings. So this preparation step is called tang nyom. Say tang nyom. Tang nyom. It means equanimity or equal mind. Your mind, you want to place your mind in a state where you have the same feeling for each person, each living being. So, like feelings of preference for wanting to be around one person and not so much another person, or for not wanting to be around some person as much as you want to be around other people. You want to even those out. So this preliminary step is really challenging to achieve, because we do have preferences. We typically like our family, or we have closer feelings for our family than we do for those who are not in our family. There are people who have done something that we feel harmed by or we didn't like, and we don't want to be around those people. We definitely don't think of helping them. And then there's this humongous group of people that we don't think about at all. You know, if you live in a big city, there could be tens of millions of people in your very own city that you don't even really care about at all. And again, thinking of Shantideva, like we draw these boundaries. Like the people in my town, you could, like if something happens in your town, some sort of natural disaster or something, there's a big storm and there's flooding, all of a sudden these people become part of our want to take care of group, the people we like. We want to help people who are experiencing some trouble. And And then even with silly things, we can draw the boundary even bigger. Like I think of sports teams. Seems like people who are a fan of sports, they really become quite attached to the people on the team that they support. And then if that team is like associated with their country, and that team is playing the team from another country, then it's like, oh, my country's team, I really care about them, that they win. So we're very good at even though we don't think about it much, we're very good at drawing boundaries about who is special for us and who isn't special for us. We're normally number one, but then we can draw the boundary and have a whole bunch of close seconds, like our children, our mother, our spouse, or boyfriend or girlfriend. And we have this really bad habit, and Master Shantideva would say it's a habit, of if someone harms us, we have this habit of at a very low level, the habit would be we just don't care about them. But we could also have the habit of like wishing them harm, even. So to get to a state of having having equanimity for all living beings, I think two things are really important. One is that not to think of equanimity necessarily as a baseline, as something low. Like equanimity doesn't mean that all of a sudden you stop loving the people that you love right now. Equanimity is like having that love and concern for everyone equally. And the other thing is that we need to think about, or what can really help with this is to think about how we've had past lives. And we talked about this the other day, last week, that if we look at, our bodies and minds are changing things, and changing things have causes. And we talked about this idea of Nerlengi Gyu, which is that the cause for the result must be of a similar substance or similar type as the result. So physical things like brains aren't the cause of a mind. And ideas like thoughts are not the cause of physical things. Uh, Physical things cause physical things, and mental things cause mental things. And we looked at that this state of awareness that we have right now of being in this class together, this state of awareness, its cause was the previous moment of awareness. Our minds, and we do tend to think of it this way when we do think of it, but our minds are moments of awareness, and we think of them as being in a stream. That there's the moment of awareness that I had when I woke up this morning. And then I can think of that as like, oh yeah, I woke up and I had these thoughts and ideas. And then you can continue on through, and you can lead up to this moment. Getting dressed, brushing your teeth, having something to eat, turning on your computer, connecting to Zoom. There are all these experiences you had before this awareness right now. And we can go backwards in just contemplation, but also in meditation, and go backwards and step back. What was the cause of this moment I am having, this moment of awareness I'm having right now? And what was the cause of that moment of awareness? And what was the cause of that moment? And through doing so, we can come to the barrier, lightly labeled, of the first moment of awareness in this particular bag of bones, in this body. There must have been a previous moment of awareness. The first moment of awareness in this body did not come from thin air, from nothing. All things that move, all things that change, which our awareness is changing. All things that change have a cause. And so, while we may not be able to see that, in the sense of we may not be able to recall that particular moment right now, logically, it must exist. Logically, there must be a previous life. Before this bag of bones, before this body. And they say that if you can get your mind still enough in meditation, if you can have a very calm, uh, calm but bright and focused state of mind, you can go back and go beyond that barrier of the first moment of this particular body, this particular personality, even Utpala, before Utpala. And if you can cross one barrier logically, then there were others. Countless others, because beginningless others, moments of awareness, because changing things don't just pop into existence with no cause. So some of us have grown up in cultures where the idea of previous lives and future lives is accepted, and some of us have not. Some of us have grown up in cultures where this life is the only life. You did just pop into existence, and you will pop out of existence. But regardless of which culture we grew up in, which one is familiar to us, we're all faced with the need to think about this logically, the need to have some certainty that our lives have been beginningless. Our lives will continue. They will be endless. So now when we think about beginningless lives, and we talked about, if we stacked up all the bags of bones from all the bodies we had in these previous lives, we couldn't even imagine how big that would be, how big of a mountain that would be. So in these beginningless lives, we have had all kinds of bags of bones, all different types of bodies. We've been men, we've been women, we've been some mix of man and woman. We've been beautiful, we've been ugly, we've been plain looking, we've been generous, we've been stingy by nature. We've been presidents, we've been emperors, we've been beggars, we've been paupers, we've been poets, we've been warriors, we've been warmongers, we've been thieves, we've been murderers, we've been mothers, we've been fathers. We've had every kind of the different kinds of lives there are, millions of times, not just once, millions of times. And if we've had all different types of births, we'll just call them births, then so has everyone else. We're not the only ones. So everyone else that we're in a relationship with in this life, we've had every possible kind of relationship with that person if we look back over beginningless lives. We've been friends, we've been siblings, we've been lovers, we've been boss and employee, we've been warriors fighting against each other. We've been arch enemies. We've been complete strangers to each other. Every possible relationship that we have with other people that we can think of now, we've had with each other person countless times. So if we look at over our beginningless lives until now, this huge period of time with a huge number of not only me's, but others, we've had all these different kinds of relationships. And if we look at them over time, it's just like a graph of going up and down. Like if this is a positive, close relationship, we're a loving relationship. We like being around someone else. And this is, I don't want to be around this person at all. They hurt me. I don't like them. They root for the wrong sports team. And then in the middle where we just don't think about them at all. It's going like this all the time. And we can see this even in this particular life. There are people, this happens in the workplace, it happens in school. We see that, sometimes people become our friends and then that friend relationship ends and they're maybe not our enemy, but the friendship dies. We don't know them and they're like strangers. Or maybe like in a partnership relationship where someone who we once loved with all our heart becomes like an enemy to us, and we split up and we harm each other where we would never have thought that at the beginning of our relationship. And kids too. Some kids if you remember when you were a teenager, oh my gosh, how hard was that? Like, I just could sometimes not even stand to be sitting at the table with my father. I really didn't like him. Oh, those teenage hormones are horrible. And then later, I love my father. So it goes up and down, even in this life. So over all beginningless lifetime, with each other individual person, we've had each possible kind of relationship over and over and over and over. So when we have this viewpoint, if we have this wider view and not just focus on this teeny little life, or even this teeny little period of time in our lives, or even this really infinitesimal, brief, like a lightning strike moment of, this week. If we expand it, we can have equal feelings for everyone. Why not think about everyone as, take the moments of being really caring about someone. Take all those moments from your beginningless lives. Why not focus on that? And have love and concern and care for them. You can pick any of them you want. You know which ones will bring you the most heartache. Thinking of everyone as your enemy, that will bring heartache. And thinking of everyone as stranger, that would bring heartache too. We're social beings. We're social creatures. We need to be around other people. So this step of having an equal mind, of having equanimity for all other living beings, will bring about the next step, which is step 1 of the 7-step cause and effect. A method for developing bodhicitta. And that step is called marche. Marche. Say mar, she. So ma, this is another one. Last time we had me, which, remember the M words I said before were usually negative words? But then last time we had me, which meant human. And now we have ma, which is not a negative in this context. And it means mother. Mama. This little R that's tacked onto the end of mother, that means as mother. And she, here, it means recognize. So recognize as mother. So now that we've got everyone, we have an equal mind towards all other living beings. We recognize them all, each and every one, as having been our mother countless times. Um, I use this particular train of thought. I used to have to commute to work in the morning. And it was it was kind of a tough commute in that it was very busy. So there are a lot of people on the highway, and the highway was very busy. And I used to be a very angry driver. It was the commute was a very stressful time for me. Um, that person's in my spot. They should have let me in, and I should be up there, 2 cars ahead, getting to my destination half a second earlier than I'm going to, but I would be all upset about that. And I started using this idea that the driver of each of the other cars was my mother. I was looking at them as my mother. And then everything changed. Because, of course, I would not get angry at my real mother, my current mother at the time, for wanting to be ahead of me in traffic. Of course, go ahead, please. And so my whole commuting experience shifted. So even just this little thought of seeing others as recognizing others as your mother can have huge benefits to your mind, even selfish benefits. So then this leads is the thinking about others as and recognizing others as our mothers. We remember their kindness. Drin Dren. Drin is kindness, and Dren is remember. Drin Dren. So we think about what our mother in this life, her kindness to us in this life, she carried us in her body for 9 months. And it wasn't just like carrying us around, this carrying us around had consequences for her. And she was kind enough to not just say, okay, I've had it, I'm done, with the first time she had morning sickness, or the first time that her clothes no longer fit and she had to get other clothes, or the first time her back started aching, or the first time she could maybe didn't feel like having sex or something. The first time she couldn't eat certain foods because they made her nauseous. It's a great kindness to give us that time to have our body develop such that we could be an independent person. And then, oh my gosh, childbirth. That's not a pleasant experience. I think there's some sort of like amnesia that happens with mothers right after they give birth to a child. Like the memory of that pain just sort of disappears and they're so in love with that baby. Like they look in that baby's eyes and all the pain goes away and they're just smitten. They're just in love with this little creature. So, and of course, we couldn't we couldn't exist on our own for, at the beginning, certainly not for a moment, right? We needed someone to care for us, to feed us, to carry us from here to there, to make sure we were warm, make sure that we had something to drink, make sure we had a place to sleep, protect us from the sun, uh, all these things. We needed such attention, such care being paid to us. Uh, and then as we grew older, then our mother taught us so very much of what we know now. We know because our mother taught us, you know? She taught us how to speak. She taught us what things were. She taught us how to tie our shoes, how to get dressed, how to have friends, how to share with other people, um, how to play, how to read, how to think. Really, it's just amazing the gifts that mothers give their children. So even if we don't have such a great experience with our mother, we don't have, maybe we had a mother who was, I don't know, drug addicted or uh, mentally unstable, mean. Even mothers who are like that have shown incredible kindness to us because they gave us this life. Even that alone, they gave us this life. They say that this is the only kind of life that we can have to reach total enlightenment. We have to be in a human life. We have to have this particular type of body. And if you get to when you get to the tantric practices, you will see what that's about. And then also this kind of mind that can think the way we think. All different types of beings think in different ways. So we have a particular way of thinking. So we need this particular combination of body and mind in order to do the practices and reach total enlightenment. And they also say we have both types of experiences that are pleasant and experiences that are painful. So we're not completely in pain as those who are in the hell realms, being slashed about, and though it just sounds really horrible, burning and being cut and all that, and dying and being born again over and over and over again. We don't have pain and suffering in each and every moment. And we don't have like this sort of blissed out happiness in every moment. Both of those extremes are not conducive to being able to think about the things we need to think about, like cause and effect, like impermanence, like emptiness, like dependent arising. To think about those things, we can't be totally blissed out in happiness. Why think about pain? And why think about how I caused this happiness? I'm feeling happy. There's no need. Everything's perfect. Or in total and complete suffering where you just don't have a moment. Like your mind can't think. So we think about the kindness of our mother. And then that leads to the next step, which is step 3, which is Drin So. Drin So. And Drin we just had, which is kindness. And So, in this spelling, means to repay, pay it back. So we think about, this is common in our cultures, I think, that when people do something that benefits us, we have the wish to pay them back. We want to do something for them as well, something that will benefit them as well. But in our context, it's not so much about like giving things, right? Of giving money or food or flowers, the things we do in our culture. But there's this image of you're standing in front of a fire pit, and it's a big, it's an actual pit. It's like a hole in the ground, and it's filled with burning embers and fire. And your mother is you're there with your mother and other people standing around this fire pit. And your mother falls into the fire pit. You feel that you must get her out. You don't say like, oh, anyone got a cell phone? I need to call the fire department. You're immediately working to get her out of the fire pit. Or you don't say, oh, you over there, could you please jump in and get my mother? No, it's your responsibility. That's your mother. She served you. She gave you this life. And our mother, if she is still alive, or even if she's not, is in that situation. We are all in that situation. We are in the situation of being forced to take on impure body and mind over and over and over again. We must help her. Everyone we excuse me. Everyone we meet is in this situation. We must help them. And how can we help them? So you have this feeling of wanting to repay this kindness. And this leads to the next step, the fourth step, which is love. Yeong Jampa. Say Yeong Jampa. Jampa means love. Maitra in Sanskrit. And Yeong means pretty or lovely or beautiful. So this kind of love in Buddhist philosophy is a desire that someone else have what they need. A desire to want to give someone everything they need. Like the kind of love that a mother has for her only child. she wants to make sure, it's almost like an obsession. You want to give them, your child, what makes them happy. You want your child to have all good things in their life. You want your child to reach their highest potential. And then in Buddhism, this love is a beautiful love of wanting people to attain a state of total enlightenment. And this step of wanting all those you see as your mother to have everything they want and to be happy leads to the next step, which is Nyingje Chempo. Say Nying Je Chempo. Nying means heart. J, this is the same J in J Tsongkhapa. It means Lord. So Ning J is the Lord of hearts. The highest emotion. And it's compassion. Karuna in Sanskrit. And Chempo means great or big. So the fifth step is great compassion. So this is the almost like other side of love, where love wants someone else to be happy and have everything that they want. Compassion wants to take away others' pain, to take away their suffering. Sometimes some people say that compassion comes before love, that you need to get someone out of the fire pit before you can love them. In this order, it's that you are compelled to help remove someone else's suffering because you love them, because you want them to be happy. And you see that what keeps them from being happy is suffering. And then from this comes Plaksam Namdak. Say Plak Sam Namdak. So the other day we had Hla. Remember we had the the city of angels. So this is a different word. This is clock. And clock means special or extraordinary. And psalm is a state of mind. So clock psalm is an extraordinary state of mind, an extraordinary thought. And namdak means totally pure. So this isn't very descriptive, is it? A totally pure, extraordinary state of mind. What this is referring to is personal responsibility. The state of mind that says, my love for others is so great. My wish that they be free of suffering is so great. It's up to me. I'll do it. I'll bring them to happiness. I'll take away their suffering. I don't care if no one helps me. I don't care whether they fight me and they scream and kick at me or they call me names. I'll do it. So this is an extraordinary state of mind. And it is the direct cause for Jungsem, step 7, which is the result. It's bodhicitta. Laksem Namdak is when you realize, I mean, you have this personal responsibility, and you also have the understanding that right now I'm not capable. Right now it's my responsibility. I will do this, but right now I don't know what's best to do. I don't know how to perfectly help someone else. I must become enlightened. I must become enlightened. So it's a recognition that, to fulfill this laksam namdak, to fulfill this feeling of I will do this. I must become enlightened first so I can do that. So it pushes you right into bodhicitta. And bodhicitta, remember, we're doing a book on the 3 principal paths. So bodhicitta is the second of the principal paths, the second plum, the second realization of the 3 realizations we need to become enlightened. So the step 0, the preliminary step of equanimity, that's necessary so that we can see all beings as our mothers. To see all being, or to put it a different way, to see all living beings as recognizing them as our mothers, we need to have equanimity. Otherwise, we could leave some out. We could miss some people. We need to feel this way for all others, leaving no one out, including this one. And then the first steps 1, 2, and 3, seeing all as having been my mother, recalling their kindness and the wish to repay their kindness. Those 3 are the cause for love. Love, the cause for compassion, the wish, the desire that people be happy is necessary in this presentation, the way Papa Rinpoche is presenting it, and the way you see it most often is that this love, a desire that others be happy and have everything they need and want, is necessary for compassion, the great compassion that they be free of suffering. And that is the cause for personal responsibility. And without personal responsibility, bodhicitta is not possible. So they go in that cause and effect order. So the homework asks you to give the 7 steps. And don't go, wait a minute, she gave me 8 steps. Just go ahead and give steps 1 through 7. Because question 2 is about step 0. It's about the preliminary step, okay? So the homework will ask you to list those 7 and to explain briefly about why each is necessary for the next. And I'll just share with you that the way the answer key is written, it's that it's really asking you to give the reason why the previous step is necessary. So, for example, with step 1, you would talk about, why do I need the preliminary step of equanimity in order to see all beings as my mother? So you would talk about that. And like that. And that's everything to talk about for today. Thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you so much for your practice. I hope you have realized your highest motivation that you set at the beginning of class, and please dedicate all your attention and energy thinking about these precious things and dedicate it towards realizing your highest goals. And I'll see you next week where we move on to the next path. Oh, yes, thank you, translators. Thank you, tech people. Thank you, ACI. Thank you, Zoom. Thank you, Geshe Michael.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.